Yeah, 161, great to make the hook up there, Max.
You're about.
Yeah, Max, J. Juliet Alpha Yankee was my name for your further information.
Hello, this is CBRadioMagazine.com, and we've got the Maxlog M-8800 export radio, full mode AM/FM single sideband CWPA mode radio. This is a full-size radio. It's been a bit of a surprise. We've been doing a lot of the small radios over the last couple reviews. The CRE 8900, the Lincoln 2, the Anytone AT6666, and the Maxlog M-8900, all very compact small radios. And this one is a standard size export, so more like a standard CB radio in terms of its dimensions. But overall, the radio has really impressed me. This is version 8. The radio has the screen where it's split, and it's got frequency information about what your functions are on this side. On this side, it's got a signal meter, SWR meter, and also your modes are shown on this side of the radio. The radio, in terms of performance, I've been testing this one for quite a while, so I guess this will be a little bit more of a review than just an overview like I normally do on the videos. The radio has an excellent receiver in it. Driving around in the vehicle, I think out of all the radios, this one is the one I actually enjoyed listening to the most. Speaker size on it's a little bigger than the other ones, so maybe that had something to do with it, but just overall, stations just sounded just very natural and quite loud and easy to hear. Just, very good receiver on in terms of listening. And it might just be my ear, but compared to a lot of the other radios I reviewed lately, it seemed to be just a hair better. The frequency stability on this radio is advertised as having TCXO high frequency stability adjustment in it, so it should prevent drift. Usually it's something you see in ham radios, or you can buy them as kits for ham radios, things like that, as add-on modules. So this radio is advertised as having that, and in terms of stability, it does seem rock solid. I experienced almost no drift whatsoever with this radio, nothing that was really discernible, and we've had it in the vehicle in the summer heat so far, and no changes that way either. Usually in the cold temperatures is where you really see a change, so we will have to test it out in this winter to see how it does on that end. But this was a radio that was sent to me to actually review. And they offered me, said, well, you can buy it, or you can take a look and review it and send it back. And I decided to buy the radio. I really liked the way it worked. In terms of, aesthetics, it's not the most pleasing to look at for me. That's just personal opinion. But it does have the backlit display on the front. Everything's split up nicely, so you are able to see your frequencies and everything else, as well as your transmit, receive, SWR all at the same time. So it's definitely functional, and that's really what I found in using the radio. It's just really easy to use. Anyway, let's go through the functions real quick. You've got your volume, on, off, squelch, echo, and of course your dual controls for that. You've got an RF gain and RF power, frequency changing knob in the middle. Your band selector, so you can quickly flip through the bands. Interesting thing about this radio is the bands are in 80 channel groupings. I guess that's how to explain that. So if you flip to the next one, you actually can go through. So if you start down and you've just gone up here into the free band, as you can see, it goes all the way up through 80. So it's pretty continuous in that sense, which is actually quite nice. So you don't have to flip it very often. Now, as you can see, there's some functions that come on and off, and I'll explain that as we go forward. Modes: PA, CW, AM, FM, upper sideband, lower sideband, very standard, what you guys are used to. Clarifier control. It controls it in steps. So, and you can see we can adjust all of the steps here, pretty much. So lots of fine control here. This is actually, I find this knob a little bit easier to use than the big knob in terms of changing the frequencies. This one works pretty well, but the actual smaller clarifier knob is really spins nicely and is easy to use. So, the one thing I found was if you're in 10-meter areas, you know, using this and using the steps. It's very good and easy to use for 10 meters and zooming around whatever you need to do in that sense. So very easy to navigate the radio controls so far. Function up here in the left-hand corner, dual watch, LCD off, mode, timeout, timer, scan, CS list, scan list, noise blank, lock, 10 kilohertz, high cut, emergency, Roger beep, and your beep beep for it. So menu, of course, you hold down the function key, take you into the menu functions. You can set your steps for tuning, everything else. Very similar again to all the other radios. Microphone gain, your talkback, all those different types of things can be set in here. So very similar to what you guys are used to. Again, we've really been going through a lot of these radios, so I'm not going to go through all of these functions in the menu. Everybody's pretty used to what all of those are at this point. But again, the radio, very easy to operate. I liked the layout of the functions. The knobs, you know, very standard, so people are used to them. And very good receive, great transmit, does about 50 watts output right out of the box. I haven't touched a thing inside this radio. People said the audio reports are great, very clear, easy to understand. And let me show you guys the back of the radio. Side mount microphone. It's, I think it's what pin is it? 6-pin? Yeah, 6-pin microphone plug, side mount, and let me show you the back of the radio. On the back of the radio, you've got a USB port here. That would be for programming if the software is functional for it. I know a lot of guys have been having trouble with different radios and getting the software programming going. It seems like Windows 8 is kind of a bugger with that, but anyway, antenna jack, CW key, external speaker, and power. Let's pop the covers. I'll show you the inside. This is the inside of the Maxlog M-8800, and it says TCXO on the board, 8800 version 8. This board says December 2nd, 2013. This is a dual final radio, puts out about 50 watts, and it does have the pots labeled on the inside, so I don't need to go through all those, but yeah, if you guys get this particular radio, you should be able to make adjustments yourself. Not a whole lot to do. Really, though, out of the box, did quite well. Shielding, surface mount technology inside, so much like the other radios we're seeing these days, not a whole lot of wires or things to come loose in terms of soldering. Last couple of things to mention on the radio. The display does not change colors, at least not as far as I can tell. Also, the output on the radio, AM is going to be about 10 watts, swinging up to about 25-30. FM should be able to do about 30 watts, and single sideband is going to be hit about 50 watts. It's not the AM swing-in radio from a low dead key. Everybody always asks on all of these radios, saying, well, what can I set the dead key at for my amp, and how high is it going to swing? You're not going to set this radio for 2 watts swinging to 30 watts. It's just not going to happen. Similar to most of these new radios, they just don't do that. They're not set up to do that the same way that some of the Magnums were, or even some of the older exports were. So, again, they're not big AM swinging radios in that sense. They tend to cut off. If you try and set them too low, the power just doesn't seem to swing up and hit high. So if you're looking for that type of radio, still probably looking more towards some of the older Magnum Omega Forces or things like that. Yeah, that's about it. I got all I got to say on this one. I'll be doing a written review as well. But yeah, I took my time on testing some of these recently. Just because there's lots of different versions of radios coming out. I wanted to really give all of them a good test. I had this one in the mobile for quite a while, and over the last couple months or so. And yeah, just really impressed. The quality on the sound on the receive is great. Using it's been very easy. I tend to find myself using the clarifier type function to really zip around for the steps, and overall, yeah, I was impressed. It was kind of a surprise. I was looking at it thinking, where is this radio going to fit in compared to some of the newer ones? But the stability's there, the sound quality's there, the functionality's there, and yeah, M8800 from Maxlog.